Church. Today we're talking about the appointed hymn of the day for Epiphany 2. It's number 402 in the Lutheran Service Book, and it's called The Only Son from Heaven. You'll notice it is found in the Epiphany section of our hymnal, which is, of course, very fitting. Epiphany is a season of light. Jesus has just come into the world, the light of the world, who enlightens the darkness of our lives here. And in this season of the church year, we celebrate how God reveals his salvation for us, continues to reveal it in the person of Jesus. This hymn that we're going to sing follows that Epiphany theme of light, especially in verses 1 and 2 that talk about Jesus, the bright morning star. So let's talk about those verses for a minute. You'll notice in our hymnal that we've got 4 verses. The original text has 5, and what we have here in our translation is 3 original verses and then an added doxology. So if we look at the story laid out by these 4 verses, we first begin with Jesus appearing, the revelation of Jesus to the world, how he was foretold by the prophets, how he was incarnate and sent from God the Father, and then how he shines his light into the world by his life and his work for us. And that's verse 1. Verse 2 specifically talks about Jesus coming at the appointed time of Christmas, right? Although it wasn't called Christmas at the time. That bright and holy morn when Christ the King came as a virgin-born son. But then it continues on to talk about another important day, which is, Good Friday and then Easter, to tell us why Jesus has come. Grim death to vanquish for us, to open heaven before us, and bring us life again. So we've got Jesus appearing, the revelation of Jesus to the world, when he came at Christmas and what he came to do. And now in verse 3, we have a prayer for our sanctification. I'm going to read that for you. It says, O Lord, our hearts awaken to know and love you more, in faith to stand unshaken, in spirit to adore, that we, through this world moving, each glimpse of heaven proving, may reap its fullness there. Yes, I thought I read the last line of verse 2. So this is similar to the original 3rd verse, but it adds a nod toward heaven and our life after death. That is not there in the original 5 verses. And then the 2 stanzas that are part of the original hymn that are not in our hymnal would come next, the original stanzas 4 and 5. And both of those are also more prayer for sanctification, more prayers that God would make us holy. But Russell, who you can see at the bottom of the page is the translator of our hymn, in our translation did not include those 2 verses. So when it first appears in the Lutheran Church Body in the worship supplement from 69, we instead have Russell's 1 through 3 text translation and then a new doxological stanza, which fits right in and puts a nice button on the text. So we'll let it stand. Now I'm doing this a little backwards, but now I want to talk to you about the author of the hymn, since we've talked about the text a little bit already. But the author of our hymn is a woman named Elizabeth Krusiger, and she's an interesting hymn writer. She and her husband Caspar, who was a theology professor at Wittenberg from the year 1528, were close friends of Martin and Katie Luther. And there really isn't much else that's known about Elizabeth, apart from the fact that she was a lover of music and that she was a wife and a mom. But other than that, this is the only hymn that we have by her, the only hymn that we have any record of her writing. But it's a wonderful contribution to the music of the Lutheran Church, so we'll take it. There was a note in the companion to the hymns that she was the only female hymn writer in Luther's circles, so kind of an interesting little fact there. But yes, this is a wonderful Epiphany hymn, short, sweet, pretty. I look forward to singing it with you guys this week in church if you're local. If not, remember you can watch us online. I hope you learned something, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.